Have you ever felt a chill down your spine for no reason? A whisper in the air, or seen a shadow flit by the corner of your eye, only to turn around and find nothing there? Hello, and welcome to another episode where we dive deep into the mysteries of the unknown. Tonight, we bring you not just myths or legends, but 10 spine-tingling encounters with the supernatural, each one vouched for by those who lived to tell their tale. These are not just stories. They are real-life encounters with the inexplicable. They are slices of lives, just like yours and mine, that have been touched by the supernatural. From the haunted halls of ancient hospitals to the silent stacks of secluded libraries, real people have come face to face with what they believe to be entities from beyond our world. Are these encounters with the paranormal mere figments of our imagination? Or is there something more, just beyond the veil, waiting in the darkness? These chilling tales, each one vouched for by those who lived to tell their tale, leave us with more questions than answers. Let's explore them together and maybe, just maybe, we'll find some answers. Prepare yourself, keep the lights on, and remember, these are real stories, from real people. Let's get started. Our first tale takes us to the corridors of St. Margaret's Hospital, a structure that has stood for over a century, now partly abandoned yet echoing with the whispers of its past. This hospital, renowned for its sprawling, derelict wings and a history rich with tales of the unexplained, has been a hotbed for paranormal investigators and curious thrill-seekers alike. It was on a bone-chilling winter night that Sarah, a nurse at the hospital, had an encounter that would forever alter her perception of these hallowed halls. As she walked through one of the older wings, which had been closed off for renovations, she caught sight of a figure. It was a doctor, dressed in the surgical attire of the 1920s, complete with a blood-stained apron. He paced back and forth before vanishing through a wall, where the old operating rooms once stood. Shaken to her core, Sarah reported the incident to hospital security, who reviewed the surveillance tapes. The cameras showed Sarah reacting to something, but the figure she described was not visible. Her account, however, matched several other reports from staff over the years, describing similar sightings in the same wing. An informal investigation ensued, with more staff coming forward with their own encounters, which only deepened the mystery rather than dispelling it. Historical records revealed that the wing where Sarah saw the apparition was indeed home to the original surgical suites, where hundreds of operations had taken place during the early 20th century. Could Sarah have seen the restless spirit of a surgeon, still tending to his duties long after death? Though no definitive proof has ever been captured, the stories of St. Margaret's Hospital continue to attract those in search of the paranormal, leaving many to wonder what truths lurk within the shadows of its abandoned wings. Our next story unfolds in a charming yet eerie Victorian home in the heart of Savannah, Georgia, a city known for its historic buildings and ghostly legends. The Turner family, excited to start a new chapter, were drawn to this beautiful but mysterious residence, unaware of the stories it held within its aged walls. It wasn't long after they settled in that the Turners began to notice strange occurrences. Toys were found in the middle of rooms, laughter echoing down the hallways, and the faint sound of music boxes playing in the dead of night. But the most chilling encounters involved the apparition of a small child, dressed in the attire of the late 1800s, appearing throughout the house. The family, particularly young Emma Turner, reported seeing the child on numerous occasions, sometimes playing or sitting quietly in corners. The presence didn't seem malevolent, but its regular appearances were unsettling, driving the family to seek answers. In their quest to understand their new home's spectral inhabitant, the Turners consulted with local historians who revealed that their home once belonged to a prominent Victorian family, tragically losing a child to illness at a young age. The Turners, grappling with the decision to stay or leave, eventually sought the help of a medium to communicate with the spirit and bring peace to the house. The medium's session was profound. They learned that the child's spirit was benign, lingering in the only home it had ever known, lost in the echoes of its past life. With this understanding, the Turners decided to coexist with their unseen housemate, learning to embrace the quirks of their haunted home. Today, the Turners remain in the house, reporting fewer occurrences as they've made peace with the little Victorian child. Their experience reminds us that not all ghostly encounters are to be feared. Some are merely lost souls looking for recognition and remembrance. Now, let's venture onto a more mysterious path, literally. Our third encounter takes us to a remote stretch of highway in New Mexico, a place that has given rise to whispers of a ghostly hitchhiker haunting those who travel by night. According to local legend, drivers along this road have reported seeing a figure in tattered clothes, thumb outstretched, appearing seemingly out of nowhere. The story of Mark, a long-haul trucker, brings us closer to this spectral wanderer. It was a chilly night in late October when Mark, driving to make up time on an overnight delivery, spotted what he thought was just another stranded traveler. He stopped, driven by instinct to help. The figure, a young man, got into his truck without a word. Mark offered him a ride to the next town, but as they drove, the passenger remained eerily silent. When Mark glanced over to ask if he was all right, the seat was empty. The passenger had vanished. Mark's encounter isn't unique. Variations of the hitchhiker legend have been reported across the United States and even globally. Experts in folklore suggest these tales tap into our fears and fascinations with the unknown, particularly in places that make us feel vulnerable or isolated. From the vanishing hitchhiker of Route 44 in Massachusetts to the ghostly travelers of the UK's Bluebell Hill, each story shares a core element: a transient spirit, caught between destinations, reaching out for human connection, only to disappear once their presence is acknowledged. These encounters leave us with a myriad of questions. Are these spirits lost souls seeking closure, or are they simply echoes of urban legends, kept alive by the desolate roads they haunt? What do these encounters tell us about the nature of the supernatural? Our journey into the paranormal takes us next to the hallowed grounds of Gettysburg, a site where the echoes of the past are not just remembered, they are said to be seen and heard. This famous battlefield was the stage for one of the most pivotal clashes of the American Civil War, where over 50,000 men were wounded, missing, or killed in just 3 days of fierce fighting. Today, Gettysburg is a national park, visited by millions who come to pay their respects and learn about history. Yet, some encounter more than just tales and artifacts. Visitors and historians alike report seeing ghostly figures in Union and Confederate uniforms, sometimes marching in formation or heard crying out in a phantom charge. Such apparitions have been reported frequently near landmarks like Devil's Den and Little Round Top, areas known for their brutal combat. Tour guides recount stories of ghostly soldiers appearing so vividly that tourists often mistake them for reenactors, until they vanish right before their eyes. Experts offer various explanations for these ongoing sightings. Some suggest they are residual hauntings, repetitions of past events, imprinted on the environment due to the intense emotional energies released here. Others view them as manifestations of collective memory and sorrow, lingering in a place marked by such profound tragedy and loss. Whether viewed as spectral remnants of a turbulent past or merely illusions born from the powerful stories of this place, the ghost soldiers of Gettysburg compel us to consider how deeply history is woven into the fabric of our present. They remind us that some battles, it seems, are never truly left behind. Not all ghostly encounters come in the form of visions or voices. Some are experienced through other senses, such as smell. Our fifth tale is one of such spectral subtlety, where the past lingers not through sight or sound, but through scent. Elaine, a recent widow, moved into a charming cottage in the outskirts of Charleston, hoping for a fresh start. But soon after settling in, she began to notice an inexplicable fragrance, delicate and floral, like an old-fashioned perfume that seemed to pervade the house at odd moments. The mystery deepened as Elaine learned more about the home's history from her neighbors. The previous owner, an elderly woman who had passed away some years before Elaine moved in, was known for her signature lavender perfume, a scent she was rarely without. It was the same fragrance that now seemed to drift through the rooms of the cottage. The realization that she might be sharing her home with the lingering essence of its former resident was at first unsettling to Elaine. However, as the days passed, the scent began to feel more comforting than chilling, like a benign presence watching over her. It brought a sense of continuity and connection to the past, a subtle reminder that the stories of those who came before us can still resonate in our lives. Today, Elaine speaks of her ghostly cohabitant with fondness, regarding the phantom smells as a sign that she is never truly alone. This gentle haunting serves as a poignant example of how the paranormal can sometimes touch our lives in unexpectedly tender ways, bridging moments across time through the shared experience of simple human comforts. Our next encounter brings us inside the hushed walls of the Grandview Library, a century-old institution renowned not only for its vast collection of literature but also for its resident ghost, a former librarian who, it seems, never quite checked out. Patrons and staff have often spoken of seeing a spectral figure roaming through the stacks, glasses perched on her nose, her fingers brushing against the spines of the books as she passes by. This ghostly librarian appears so real that she is sometimes mistaken for a living person, until she fades away right before startled eyes. The stories converge around one figure, Miss Eleanor, a dedicated librarian who served the library for over 40 years before her passing in the late 1950s. Known for her stern but fair manner and deep love for books, her spirit, many believe, remains committed to her lifelong duty of safeguarding the library's treasures. Intrigued by these persistent reports, a team of paranormal investigators was invited to explore the library after hours. Armed with infrared cameras and EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recorders, they sought to capture evidence of Miss Eleanor's presence. Though definitive proof eluded them, the team recorded several unexplained anomalies, including whispers in the literature section and a cold spot by the reference desk, Miss Eleanor's favorite station. Whether through actual sightings or the inexplicable events captured on digital devices, the legend of Miss Eleanor continues to enrich the lore of the Grandview Library. For many, these encounters are not just ghost stories but a cherished link to the library's storied past, a past that refuses to be forgotten. Elevators, by their very nature, are transient spaces, small, confined, and constantly moving between levels, touching the lives of countless individuals. But in the Carlton Hotel, one elevator seems to not only traverse floors but also, perhaps, different realms. Late one evening, as the hotel's quiet hum gave way to the deeper silence of midnight, a guest named Thomas entered elevator number 4. As the doors slid closed, he noticed he was not alone. Reflected in the mirrored walls of the elevator stood a figure beside him, an elderly man in a faded bellhop uniform, looking distinctly out of place and time. Thomas recounted later that he blinked, rubbed his eyes, convinced he was seeing things. But the figure remained, only to disappear as the doors opened at his floor. Shaken, he reported the incident to the hotel staff, who were unsurprisingly familiar with the tale. Hotel employees and even some repeat guests have whispered about similar encounters over the years. The old bellhop, known for his dedication to the job and untimely death in the hotel, appears to still be on duty, ensuring the comfort and safety of guests as they move through the building. Hotels are places of constant emotional energy, with thousands of people passing through, each carrying their own stories and feelings. It's not uncommon for spirits, especially those attached to such a place, to continue their routines, caught in a loop of their former lives. Whether an echo of the past or a figment drawn from the depths of our psyche, the encounter in elevator number 4 serves as a chilling reminder that in some corners of the world, the boundaries between the past and the present are as thin as the whisper of an elevator sliding smoothly between floors. Not all ghostly encounters evoke fear or unease. Some bring comfort, suggesting that the line between this world and the next can sometimes be a source of protection, not peril. Such is the story of Jamie, who experienced a guardian spirit in what could have been her darkest hour. One evening, Jamie was home alone when she heard the unsettling sound of someone trying to force their way through the back door. Frozen with fear, she suddenly felt a calming presence envelop her, a warmth that felt all too familiar. As she stood there, paralyzed, she distinctly heard the voice of her grandfather, who had passed away several years earlier. He had always been her protector, the one who made her feel safe in any storm. His voice, firm yet gentle, instructed her to be calm and call for help. Empowered by his presence, Jamie dialed emergency services. By the time help arrived, the intruder had fled, discouraged perhaps by the unseen force guarding her. When reflecting on that night, Jamie is convinced that her grandfather's spirit was there to protect her, just as he had in life. Such experiences have led many to believe in guardian spirits, loved ones who continue to watch over us from beyond. Whether these protectors are manifestations of our subconscious or truly the spirits of those who once loved us, the comfort they provide in moments of fear can be as real as anything tangible. The belief in guardian spirits spans cultures and centuries, often seen as a continuation of love and duty beyond the physical confines of life. Whether through anecdotal tales or experiences like Jamie's, it appears that the human spirit, in its most profound connections, transcends even death. Jamie's story invites us to consider the possibility that those we hold dear might still have roles to play in our lives, their guidance and protection not confined to the memories we carry but active presences in times of need. Our final story delves into the world of antiques, where objects carry not just aesthetic value but sometimes echoes of their previous owners. Such is the case with an antique mirror purchased by Melissa, who was drawn to its intricate craftsmanship and the story that it might hold. Soon after bringing the mirror home, Melissa began to notice strange occurrences, flickers of movement reflected in the glass that vanished when she turned, and whispers late at night that seemed to emanate from its direction. The air around the mirror would often grow inexplicably cold, sending shivers down her spine. Intrigued and unnerved, Melissa embarked on a journey to uncover the history of the mirror. Her research led her to discover that it once belonged to a Victorian-era family, reputed to be deeply involved in spiritualism. The mirror had been an heirloom, passed down through generations, each owner adding to its mysterious legacy. Experts suggest that such objects, especially those with significant emotional attachments or used in spiritual practices, can become conduits for supernatural activity. Whether it's residual energy or something more sentient, the mirror seemed to hold a presence that was palpable and, to some, quite real. Faced with the decision to remove the potentially haunted object from her home, Melissa chose instead to embrace its presence. For her, the mirror's unusual activities became a link to the past, a living history that she felt honored to preserve. Melissa's experience reminds us that the line between the tangible and the spectral can blur, especially within objects that have witnessed the passage of time. Whether seen as haunted or hallowed, these items bring with them stories of lives lived, and perhaps, lives still lingering. Tonight, we've traveled through haunted hospitals, Victorian homes, and remote highways, brushed past the silent readers in libraries, and reflected in the mysterious surfaces of haunted antiques. Each story, unique in its setting and spirit, taps into that universal vein of the supernatural that threads through every culture and community. These tales remind us that ghost stories are more than just spine-chilling entertainment. They are a window into our deepest fears, hopes, and the timeless question of what lies beyond. Each account, shared by those who've felt, seen, or heard something inexplicable, challenges our understanding of the world around us. Have you ever encountered something unexplainable? A whisper in the dark, a glimpse of something just out of the corner of your eye, or perhaps a feeling that someone was there, watching over you? We invite you to share your experiences and thoughts on the supernatural in the comments below. Your story might just be the key to unraveling these timeless mysteries. If you enjoyed this journey into the paranormal, don't forget to like, subscribe to the Phantasmal Eternity channel, and share this video. Each story shared, each subscriber added, brings us closer together in our quest for understanding the unknown. With that said, thank you for watching. Until next time, keep your mind open, your eyes peeled, and maybe Turn on the light.